All right. So for those of you joining this particular broadcast, this is part two because something got really weird with the connection. So I wanted to come back, give people time to jump back on. So yeah, I will play a little while we give people time for that. Good morning again, T. Yeah, this is my I'm being sabotaged this morning by the internet. So yeah. He said it reminded you of the serene. So I'm sorry, y'all. For the people who were on the first broadcast, I sincerely apologize. I have no clue what's going on with the connection this morning. Thank you. Good morning to you. All is well, man. All is well. I'm just trying to wait around and give some of my people who were knocked off on the initial live that I was doing. I'm trying to give some of those people time to come back on. I don't know if you got to see my question on the previous session, but I was wondering when it comes to writing solos, uh, do you think bass line first or the melody? It depends on the song. It really depends on the song. Most of the time, I'm just kind of going with what I feel. So it depends on however, whatever order that comes in. So again, and most of the time, to be honest, I'm kind of following where the chords are going, because most of the time there's some type of chord inside the. I'm sorry, there's some type of melody inside the chord, and if I follow that melody that's already there, it gives me the ground of where I can take whatever solo or whatever idea I'm hearing. So, like for instance, like this melody is. So if I have that melody going over those chords, uh, found something. So yeah, so I just kind of follow where the melody is going, and that gives me some groundwork of where I can go. So I want to go ahead and jump. I tried to wait a little while, but I don't want to drag this out. I want to go ahead and jump into what my topic was, and if you guys want to hear the playing, you can go back to the previous video before all of the bad internet connection and I don't know what I just think is a good old sabotage. So yeah, what I want to talk about this morning, ironically, is ignoring the distractions. Ignoring the distractions. So for you guys that are watching, if you're watching this in the replay and you want to take some notes today, these are some things that I really took time out. I actually jotted down some notes because it was something I wanted to share with you guys that I felt like that will really, really be helpful for you, not just in your musical career, but in whatever endeavor, because I don't know who all is watching this video. So I wanted to make sure I gave you something that was practical that you could actually use and apply to more than one area of life. So one of the biggest setbacks of this entire season that we've been in is the distractions. Most people are so bothered by the information, the what ifs, and all the other fear that they're not making any progress. I want to talk about ways you can be more productive by ignoring the distractions. So, ignoring the distractions, grooves and motivations. We're here again. I apologize to the ones of you that didn't get to hear the grooves. I will play again at the end. So, if you're just joining me this morning, I will play again at the end if you missed all the playing at the beginning earlier this morning. So as I began examining myself on this particular topic, I noticed that I am most unproductive when I'm distracted by things that got nothing to do with my purpose. I sometimes have a habit of scrolling through social media when I want to take a break from whatever work I'm doing. Now, the problem with this is that it starts as a little 2 minute, I'm just scrolling. And then after that, it ends up being 15 to 20 minutes that you've wasted on social media. At some point, you're going to run into some negative information. Someone is going to start posting something negative, discouraging, concerning, or concerning the present or the future, and you're going to get distracted by it. That's just a fact of the matter. You're going to scroll through your feed. You're going to see something at some point because I know it's just a habit of mine. I get going, I get started working on something, and it could be for me like because I do a lot of production work. I do like editing these videos, and sometimes stuff starts rendering, or sometimes you're working on something, and then if you got Apple stuff, that good old wheel of death. We call it the wheel of death. It starts turning, and when that wheel starts turning, oftentimes in the middle of that, I get frustrated because I'm very, very goal oriented. I'm very task oriented. So when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and my machinery or some technology or something like that is not, kind of like my connection this morning, it can become a distraction for me. And not to mention, it's even more so when I'm doing something I really truly didn't want to do in the first place. I'm making myself do it. I'm trying to discipline myself to do it. So you find yourself scrolling through social media, and then what happens? You get distracted by something. Something lures you in, something grabs your attention, and you get distracted by it. So what literally just started as you, oh, okay, I'm just wasting time until this thing is ready to start off. Now you have lost so many minutes or so much time just by simply scrolling through your feed. Now, what happens with that is when you see it initially, it doesn't affect you much. And I see you guys' comment, and I will come back to some of your comments. But what happens initially when you see it, it doesn't really affect you that much, but it goes into your subconscious and it starts to really set up shop in your mind. Now, the problem with allowing these things to set up shop in your mind is that most of us have a one-track mind. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm pretty good at multitasking. Me personally, I think I'm pretty good at multitasking. I used to pride myself on, well, not literally pride myself on, but when I was younger, most of you guys know I played multiple instruments. So I would, at my church, just for the fun of it, I would be playing the bass and the keyboard at the same time. I know that's not that big of a deal for some people, but I would be playing. This was back like early 2000s. I would be playing the bass. Well, actually, it's in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. So I was playing the bass and the keyboard at the same time, just having fun, being silly, and just seeing if I could do it. And so I got pretty good at being able to multitask, in my opinion. But to be honest, the truth is, you're only focusing on one thing at a time. When you try to spread yourself out too thin, something ends up not getting your best. So, like, even with me playing this bass and playing the keyboard, one of the things was an autopilot. And what I mean by that, some of this stuff I didn't even have to think about that I was doing. Just say I was playing keyboards most of the time. So more than likely, I can't exactly pinpoint it, but more than likely, my keyboard playing was in autopilot. So I already knew what I'm going to do with my right hand. I don't even have to think about it. But I'm more focused on trying to make sure I'm tapping out these notes and getting the notes to come through clear on the bass. So my focus was on my bass. Even though I'm doing more than one thing at a time, my focus is on the dominant thing that's taking my attention. So multitasking is good. Being able to multitask is good. And I'm not saying anything wrong or anything against multitasking. That's definitely good. But the problem, and again, I see you guys' comments, but the problem that comes with multitasking at times when it's something that you're really, really trying to focus on, that other thing, something is going to take dominance of your focus. And you start to really shift your energy towards that. Now, what happens with that is you're off. You're off base, you're off course with whatever it is you're trying to do. And you're definitely not getting anything or a lot of stuff done like you initially planned to. So now I'm beginning to be more aware of my habit of scrolling through social media. When I catch myself do it, I instantly get into my own collar. And some of you guys are from the South, and you know what that term means. I mean, I'm really tough on myself. What I mean by that is I remind myself that I have work to do. I have to stay on task. And I have to start like really focusing in on what it is I'm trying to do. So like I'll give an example just in case that term "get in my own collar" just kind of slipped by somebody. I don't want to say nothing too fast and you don't understand what I'm saying. When I mean get into my own collar, I literally will go off on my own self. Y'all might call me crazy. You can talk about me later after I get off. But I would literally get onto myself and like, dude, what are you doing? Like if I'm scrolling on my phone and I notice like what started out as like a 2-minute scroll, I've been on there for 10 minutes and I catch myself, I come to, I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? You got work to do. You still have to finish this. So I make myself get back focused on what it is I was trying to do initially so I can get whatever that is done. Now, a good way for you to stay on track, as I was saying earlier, you have to start planning out your day. Many of you guys that have been on here before, you've heard me talk about this. You heard me talk about planning your day, having some type of way that you can plan your day, whether that's keeping a schedule or something like that, or having some type of planner. What I do is I have a productivity list. I use that good old iPhone. I love the notes on the iPhone, and I have a productivity checklist, and I've talked about this more than once. So if you've been here a while, bear with me. This is for the people who are not normally here. But I have a productivity checklist. I have like 10 to 20 things on that list that I'm trying to get done. Now, some of those things I don't have to keep refreshing because it's just I know this is just the structure of my day. You get up out of the bed, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got all these different things that you mark off that you're trying to do. And as you get these things done, they help you to stay focused on task or just stay on task in general. Because once you start veering off and you look at that list and it's like, I got this to do, this to do, this to do. That helps you to get back on, what you were trying to do instead of just kind of just floating through your day, not really having any real direction as it is to where it is you're trying to go. There's a quote from Jermaine that says, you can't hit a target that you never set. You can't hit a target that you never set. That planning thing is super crucial. And I don't want to speed past that too fast because, again, I'm talking about to you guys ignoring the distractions. This could be as far as your bass playing in terms of you setting up a practice regimen, all that stuff, or just with other things you're trying to get done with creating music, being more productive even in this season of quarantine. You have a lot of time on your hands to get a lot of stuff done. A lot of us can finish up some projects that we've been putting off, but you have to set targets. You have to set real targets for yourself. Some of my students that I talk to in the coaching sessions, I tell them straight up, like, listen, or I ask them questions rather, where do you see yourself at 6 months from now in your playing or in your career? That's kind of hard. We know that's kind of hard to answer as it pertains to a music career right now. But as far as your playing, where do you see yourself at? Because you can actually control that part of the dynamic. You can control where you see yourself in your playing 6 months from now. Where do you see yourself 3 months from now? What songs do you want to have up under your belt when you look back? If you go, there's a book I read. I think it was called Millionaire Success Habits. And one of the things in this book the guy talked about, he was saying, is this concept of fast forward into the future 1 year to where you want to be. So you fast forward yourself 1 year into the future to where you see yourself being. And then you go back in time, figuratively speaking, you go back in time and to see what steps you took to get you to that place that you see yourself at 1 year from now. So I challenge all of you guys to do that that's watching me this morning. Take you out a list or take you out a sheet of paper or get your phone, your notes out. Write down some things that you see yourself doing. And good morning to you guys that's just jumping on. Write down some things that you see yourself doing a year from now. So a place you want to be, write it down. Write the vision and make it plain. Like you want to be able to write down what you see in your mind, whatever it is in your mind that you see yourself doing. You want to be able to write that thing out and have it plain, have it before you. Because as you do that, what you will do is you will begin to activate certain parts of your brain to start shooting for that. All right. So winning is predictable and so is failure. That doesn't mean that you will win every time that you play the game, but your chances of winning are much higher when you have a goal that you're always working towards. And so when you don't have an end goal, you just kind of end up doing what you can to get by. That simply means every now and again you're going to win and sometimes you're going to fail, but you kind of expect it. When you don't have an end goal, you kind of expect to fail every now and again. And even when you do have an end goal, you know that failure is possible, but the odds of you failing are not as high when you are very strategic. Winners are very, very strategic. Real winners are very strategic. They plan on winning. Like they watch. When you think about athletes, they're watching tapes of their last performance. They're watching some of the weak points, good athletes. They're watching some of the weak points of what they did wrong. And then also they're watching the offender not offender, the defender, the person that they have to play, the other team. They are watching what that other team does. They're watching that other team's strengths. They're watching that other team's weaknesses. They're studying the game to figure out what do we need to do to win this thing. So even though they are excited when they do win, it's not a big shocker when they win at times because If I know I put in all the work necessary to win, then I expect to win. I'm not going to be shocked every time I win. I expect to win. What I'm shocked by is when I don't win. You know what I'm saying? When I put in the work, I expect to win. I'm shocked when I'm like, wait a minute, I did X, Y, and Z, so I should be good. Like I should be winning this thing. So those are the things that winners do. Winners put in the necessary work. Winners put in the necessary action to make sure that they're taking all the steps so that they win. It never comes as an accident. Winning is never an accident. Now there are some times, I don't want to say that, and then people are like, well, there's some exceptions to the rule. You're right. There are exceptions to the rule, but most of the time, the people who win, they study their craft. They know it inside and out. I was watching this interview by Michael Jordan, and well, not an interview, it was like a documentary or something about Michael Jordan. They were talking. Some of you guys are a real sports fan, because I'm not a real sports fan. Some of you guys that are real sports fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they were saying that Michael studied the game so well and he practiced so well that he had, and he even said it, he had done the thing in practice so much that when he gets on the court, he's not trying to do anything. He's just rehearsing what he's already done in practice over and over again. He practiced perfection over and over again, trying to perfect what he didn't practice being perfect, but he practiced on what it is he was trying to do over and over again, trying to find his weak areas, improving on those weak areas. I know if I go stand here and I take 2 steps back, I'm going to probably shake this person and I'm going to probably do this. He knew what to do to get the job done that he needed to get done. So when it came time and all the chips was down, it was on him to make that winning shot. It wasn't something that he was being introduced to for the first time. You see what I'm saying? When it came time for him to be able to do what he needed to do, it wasn't something that was new to him. And I think with us, what happens, especially as musicians, we work so much on learning songs, learning scales, learning riffs, or whatever the case may be. Or just, if we're good, just kind of naturally good, and we just kind of get it, we just kind of get by. Just be honest. We just kind of get by. And we don't really put everything we have into practicing for mistakes, being prepared for those things that might arise in your playing, finding out what the weak areas of your playing is. I tell my students all the time, record yourself, listen back to yourself. Even in these videos, I done got pretty good at it because I can hear when I mess up immediately, but I just get over it. I keep it moving. But when I go back and evaluate what it is I've done, I'm able to see, okay, you're doing that too much. Okay, you need to pay a little bit more attention to your tone when you're doing X, Y, and Z. It's like I go back and study certain things that I've done because I know where I'm trying to land. I know what winning is for me. Being successful, you have to be able to clearly define what success is for you. Being able to clearly define what success is for you will give you the steps you need to take in order to get there. Let me say that again. You being able to clearly define what success is and what success looks like for you will give you the steps you need to take in order to get there. It's kind of like what I said earlier. You fast forward 1 year into the future. In your mind, 1 year into the future, this is what success looks like 1 year from now. I'm not in quarantine for one, even though we're not really controlling that. But if I'm playing at a beginner level, in a year from now, I want to be at an intermediate level. Just, I want to try to be at either an intermediate or like low-key advanced level. That's where I want to be. And it's possible. There are people who pick up the bass and in months, they're playing like pros. I went to school with a guy. He had only been playing 6 months. He had been playing guitar. This was a Japanese guy. He had been playing guitar for like 6 months. And I went to a concert and I heard him play, and I talked to him after the concert. I was like, man, how long you been playing? I'm thinking he's been saying, yeah, I've been playing since I was like 12, something like that, something like my story. And the dude told me he started playing 6 months ago, and I'm hearing the stuff that he's playing. I'm sitting here like, no way. But when I started really understanding the work ethic of the people over there, I was like, that makes sense. because they don't just say, hey, I'm going to learn how to do this. They eat, sleep, and breathe that thing, and they completely immerse themselves in whatever that thing is. Because if you came over to America from another country to study music, and everything is riding on you being successful because your parents probably wanted you to do something like become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or something that's more lucrative, then yeah, you better be good. You better be good. And so to me, that why for them is different. Even for the guy that I met in college, his why was different. So that's why in 6 months, he was way farther along than most people are in 10, 12 years, because his why about what he was doing was completely different. I can't let my folks down. They're going to look down on me. I'm going to be an outcast to my family for trying to go run after some pipe music dream that might not happen. So if I'm going to do this thing, I have to be the best. I have to at least be one of the best at it. And I don't have a lot of time to do it. I only may have, 4 years at this college, or I might have 2 years, depending on, if he went somewhere else. So he knows he doesn't have a lot of time to accomplish this goal that he has to do. So he has to put everything he has into this thing to make sure he sees it all the way through. And that's what it means to have an end goal. Have something that you're aiming towards, and you put everything that you have into it to try to make sure that you put it through. I don't want to be too long with this, so I kind of leave this. I'll close by saying this. You have to start being aware of what's causing your distractions in your life. Most of the time, I was being distracted because I was looking for some type of escape from the pressure of what I needed to do, but I didn't want to do. I know that's it's like a lot of y'all. So you have to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself the question: why am I being distracted? Think of all, if we think, and if we all are honest, most of us are willfully distracted. It's hard to be distracted by something or someone that you're not interested in. You can't take my attention. I'll make this scenario. I don't drink coffee at all. Like I am not a coffee drinker. Sorry, coffee drinkers out there. I'm no shade to you, but me personally, I don't drink coffee. So you could literally set a Starbucks up out in my front yard and get your business popping. Just give me 10% of the cut, or 50% since you're in my yard. So, but I'm probably not going to come over there and ask you for a cup of coffee. I'm probably not going to be tempted to go over there and buy coffee, or even if they offer me free coffee. Since we're in your yard, free coffee for life. That's not appealing to me because I don't drink coffee. So you can't interest me in something that doesn't mean anything to me. Jazz, what's up, man? I'm going to come back to the comments too, guys. And thanks for the birthday wishes for the people who have said something. So like you can't tempt me with something that I don't want. Again, you can't tempt me with something that I don't want. So when I say most people are willfully distracted, that means it was something, if you were scrolling through your feed, something got your attention and your 2 minutes turned into 15, turned into 20 minutes, that means it was something that you was interested in. And you were trying to find, another part of what I said, you were trying to find an escape from something that you needed to do, but you didn't want to do. You see what I'm saying? It comes down to that. It's something that you really need to do. Because the whole point of ignoring the distraction from what? What are we being distracted from? Something that you really need to do. Think about when you're doing something that is not really, really productive. How often are you distracted from doing that thing? Just take a second and think about it. If you're doing something that's not productive, you can waste hours and won't nobody bother you. Here's another thing. Think about it. If you try to take a nap during the day, how many times will your phone ring? Or how many times will you get text messages? Or how many times will somebody come knocking on the door or something to disturb you when you're doing something that's considered meaningful to you? And sleep, it's probably a bad example for the sake of what we're talking about, because some of y'all sleeping too much. But for the sake of what we're talking about, we're most of the time willfully distracted. We're looking for a way because we're stressed out when we're doing it. You shouldn't be, but a lot of times when you're after purpose and you're going after something that you should be doing, most of the time it's kind of, the thought about it is stressful. It's putting you in an uncomfortable position. It's putting you in a situation that you probably, eh, I wouldn't want to do this like on a normal basis. Like for me, uh, sorry about that, guy. All right, so like for me, working on certain things that I know that need to be done, like putting off doing yard work. I know this needs to be done, but I don't want to do it today. So I'll find something. I'll find a reason. Most of us will find some type of reason why this thing cannot be done right away. You see what I'm saying? So when we do that, we put ourselves in the position of being distracted. We are being willfully distracted because we find something else to do that's a distraction to us. So I'll go ahead and kind of wrap this up. So it all comes down to self-control. The more we work on ourselves by doing the things that are strategic or being strategic and planning, the more we will see growth in the areas that we're trying to see growth. Don't get me wrong, distractions will come. They will come, but you can better avoid these distractions by being more focused, by being more centered on what it is you're trying to do. By being more focused, by being more centered, by being more intentional. Ultimately, being more intentional about what it is you're actually trying to do. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of things that's going to arise. It's going to try to take your attention. But if you're intentional, if you start planning, if you start doing the things that are necessary, recognize where you're being distracted. Get in your own collar about it. Like, don't just let yourself off the hook. Don't let yourself slide. Hold yourself accountable for what it is. Don't be too hard on yourself, but don't be too easy on yourself. If the pizza man show up late, you mad at him. If you go to a restaurant and they take too long bringing your food out to you, you're mad at them. So if you're taking too long accomplishing a goal that you're set for, why aren't you mad at yourself? So we have to be able to just be more disciplined about what it is we're trying to do. And overall, guys, if I don't say anything else, I want to say this: live on purpose. Live on purpose. Make sure that the stuff that you're intentionally doing the stuff that's part of your purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is, do what you can to seek out that purpose. I will also say this: most of us get distracted because we get discouraged. In this season right now, it's so easy for musicians not to practice because the hope is gone. Most people's hope is gone. And if you don't have anything to build your hope on, your hope is gone. So it's hard for you to get fully into what it is you're trying to do. It's hard for you to set up a practice regimen. It's hard for you to get up and do anything in music that's productive because the idea is that it ain't going nowhere. We're not playing anywhere live. I'm not getting called for any gigs. What difference do it make if I practice? What difference do it make if I stay sharp? We don't know when we're going to get out again. They canceling stuff left and right. So in your mind, you think, all right. Sorry. So with all that being said, just be super, super intentional. I'm going to go through some of these comments and we're going to jump off. I was going to play one more song before I get off, but we'll see how long it takes me to go through these compliments. If my connection doesn't disconnect because I'm trying to read comments. All right, so hi sir, I want to purchase some of your DVD lessons, but I have a simple question for someone that's been playing but not a pro bass samples or a beginner bass course. So who's that? Lasiba. So I don't have any DVD products. Like all of my products are digital. To answer that question, everything I have is digital. And to answer the Soul Samples pack, those are samples for producers. If you produce music and if you're looking for like guitar and bass samples, meaning you can sample certain sounds that I've already played into your whatever your user face that you could create music on, you can play the notes with the samples that I've recorded. Like you can literally place those samples in those. Then you have to do some research on how to do that. But that is for producers. It's just, those samples are literally for producers if you produce music. So if you're looking to learn bass, that's not what you purchase on my website. Not for that reason. So if you're trying to get started, you say you've been playing for a while. So if you already got the basics down packed and that's not a struggle for you, I wouldn't advise you to buy the basics. I would advise you to maybe try out the monthly membership lessons if you're just trying to get better. And there are other courses there as well. But if you've already kind of covered the basics, then a lot of that stuff is going to be like, I already know this, and to you it might be a waste if you already know all the basics. But if you don't know the basics, then by all means get the basics and then go to the monthly membership lessons from there. Because in the monthly membership lessons, I don't start with beginner stuff. It's more so you already need to have been playing. You already kind of have to have an idea of what you're doing. Because we're not, I do slow stuff down from time to time to make sure that you understand what it is I'm saying, but I'm not teaching at a beginner level with the monthly membership lessons. So just to give that clarity. So yeah, and even in the beginner basics course, as I teach you the base, I'm pushing you through that course. I'm giving you stuff that's making you hurry up and kind of come up. So you may need to go through that beginner basics more than once and get those lessons down packed and get that stuff under your hands, because as you learn that stuff, then you should be about ready to transition over to the monthly membership lessons. I do offer one-on-one lessons if you need the additional help to help you kind of speed up the process of getting past the beginner stage. I do have that. I do have some students that have taken me up on that as well, that I am helping in addition to them taking the the beginner basics. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Let's keep going. Ignoring the distractions, appropriate title for this morning said, listen, I've been so distracted this morning trying to do this. We're being bumped off and the notifications. So, all right, so good morning. Without learning the basics like you on the base. Is that a distraction or is it a good goal? No, I wouldn't call it a distraction. As long as you're allotting the time for the thing that you're trying to do, make sure you're giving it an appropriate amount of time. And if you're trying to learn a guitar too, just giving each thing its appropriate amount of time. There is no right or wrong way to, no right or wrong time to learn an instrument. Let me say that. And you don't have to be isolated to one instrument. Well, I want to get the bass down pat, and then I move to guitar. I want to get the guitar down pat. If you do that, you're never going to learn anything, because as you grow, you're going to find out I still don't have this thing down pat. So I would say just make sure you allot time for each instrument. You need to spend time on each instrument. If you're trying to learn multiple instruments at a time, spend time on each one. All right. Hey man, I would love to build a bass for you. Triangle Jefferson, send me a DM. Let's talk about it. Well, I said DM, but send me a email to Jermaine at JermaineMorgan.net. So I wasn't. Here, let me get on my own live on the computer. I'm gonna have to read the comments this way, because at this point I'm being sabotaged every time I try to read y'all's comments. So let me try to jump on my own live and let's see if I can see the comments that way. See if it'll allow me to see. See if it'll allow me to see the comments. I'm gonna have to mute it when I come on. Okay, let's try that. Let's mute it. All right. So let me find you all's live comments. Where are the live comments? Here it is. I'm trying, y'all. I am trying to work through these setbacks this morning. All right. So my question for the previous live: can y'all still hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Make sure we're still connected. When I was trying to read it, every time I touch the screen, it disconnects. This never happens, so I'm being sabotaged on my B-day for whatever reason. So I do apologize. This has probably been one of the worst lives in terms of functionality. I don't know why, but it is what it is. All right, so from the previous session, what looper pedal do you use? I didn't use a looper pedal. I was playing from my my computer. The tracks are on my computer. But when I do use a looper pedal, the one that I use is the Jam Man by Digitech, the Jam Man Stereo. That's what I use. All right, so I see y'all. Y'all can hear me. So I'm gonna keep moving through these questions. Great question. I was wondering the same thing. So okay, you was talking to Tiffany. All right. So good morning, brother. Happy birthday. Well said. You're handling this latest distraction very well this morning. Great example of persistence, determination, and practicing what you preach. Listen, I'm having to practice that stuff this morning because it is wearing me out. Inside, I'm frustrated because the presentation was, I was very prepared. I never write notes for the lives. I just kind of go off the dome. I like for it to be organic, but it was some things I really, really wanted to share with you guys. And so I literally took out time and I wrote notes. And so that's the irritating part of it. But it's all good. Hopefully the information is still helpful. You still got the information that I wanted you to get. And because you guys that are normally here, you know it's a little different this morning. I'm doing things a little different. Not just because it's my birthday, but it's a reason behind it. So it's so ironic that I'm calling it ignoring the distractions, given what's going on. Somebody says, "Hey Jermaine, I enjoy knowing what to add to your group." Thank you. If you guys haven't checked out that particular, if you haven't checked out what I was saying, that particular series that I just finished, it's a 4-lesson series, knowing what to add to my groove. Be sure to go and check out that series. All right, so my time is nearing an end. Y'all can keep dropping the comments. I'm gonna play one last song because if you joined this broadcast, you didn't hear any playing. The other broadcast was interrupted, and hopefully it doesn't interrupt while I'm playing this last song. But yeah, I'm gonna play this one last song, and we're gonna be out, y'all. So hopefully y'all enjoy. Happy birthday. You've blessed me with some knowledge over time. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. As your baseline series off. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it once again. So let's go. This last tune that I'm gonna do is the title track from the actual record, Life. I've been talking about the Life record in the other, I didn't talk about it in this particular record, in this particular live, but in the other previous live, I talked about the Life album. So this is a song called Life. This is the title track from the record. Really, really fun song, and hopefully that there's still it's still some latency going on here. I don't know why, y'all. I sincerely apologize. I don't know why that is, but I'm gonna push through it anyway, and hopefully you enjoy this song. And if you don't get all of it, it's on the record. It's good on the record too. So get the Live record after this. All right, so here we go. Let's jump into it. All right, y'all. That's it. I'm jumping off. So thank y'all so much for joining me. I sincerely apologize for all of the latency issues with the connection. I don't know what that's about this morning. But hopefully y'all got something super helpful out of this. If you found this video or this live helpful, please give it a like, leave your comments and all that good stuff. And once again, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me today. I am out of here. Much love. Peace.